So this is my song, One More Round, and how's the volume right now? Should I turn it up a bit?
It's actually pretty quiet, that part. Nice.
We go down to this God-forsaken town. We come together when the lights go down. Always up for another round. We come together when the lights go down.
So this one's already developed. I've gone through the steps of I have a leader here, and I just do it on the first track. And the reason I do it on a track as opposed to, a track with a vocal on it, as opposed to just like putting it up here, which you totally could do on a blank track, is I like to see how the compressors and everything are reacting. And I should press play.
Down to this God-forsaken town. We come together when
And then we can see I've got a little Pro Q and some RVox. And, you know, one thing I like to do sometimes is put quite a bit of compression, so we could even go more extreme. And then just run it in parallel. So I introduce the dry signal a little bit and go like that. And one of the coolest parts of KSHMR Chain is you can actually see the RMS difference between the signal entering and leaving the plugin.
down to this God-forsaken town.
So if you want to do proper gain staging, you can just try to make sure it stays around 0. And if you're going to gain stage with the dry wet, you just kind of adjust them until you're getting the compression you want, but you're still around 0. So that way, if you turn off and on the plugin, you can get a more transparent sense of what the plugin is doing as opposed to it just sounding louder. And why I add 2 EQs, I don't know. I know there's no difference. I've literally tested if it sounds the same. I think Pro Q and Equality sound the same, but for some reason, it's like a habit. I believe Equality adds some nice sizzle, and it's probably both. But anyway, here is a de-esser at the end because I'm adding so much highs, and if you don't add that de-esser, you're going to see the sibilances really pop up, especially when you're doing those notches I'm doing. So anyway, that's our leader, and I started out by putting a follower on every other track, and it's just so nice. They all have it. Each and every one is going to receive the same compression and the same EQ and everything, which is great in my book because it's all the same vocalist, it's all the same microphone. And if I were to bypass,
We go down to this God-forsaken town. We come together when the lights go down. Always up for another round. We come together.
and you know, a question that comes up a lot is, why couldn't you just do this on the bus, right? Like, why couldn't you just put it up there? And there's definitely reasons for that. There are things that I think you could get away with doing on the bus. Like, if you just compressed all of these, then when they all get loud and the sum signal is louder, then yes, the compressor is going to push it down in the way that you want. But if there are vocals that kind of pop up in spaces like this vocal in particular, the low octave, you see that it's getting kind of quieter here when these ones are louder. Now the compressor, if you just put it on the group, it's not really going to react and help you out with that low vocal maintaining its volume, because to the compressor on a group, it looks like the signal is about the same anyway. But the low octave is getting lost there, and by putting the compressor on the individual track, it's going to be bumped up and you're going to see a more even signal throughout this low octave. And that's just a natural thing with singers. On different takes, different notes are going to be louder or less loud. And especially with the low octave, some notes might get too low and you see a big volume drop. So with compression, I think this is really helpful. With tuning, it is a necessity. You absolutely have to put tuning on each individual track. Just for fun, if you guys want to put auto-tune on a group, be my guest. It'll sound probably ridiculous. De-essing is another one, right? Like de-essing, you really don't want to get a ton of reduction that's put on the whole group if there's only a few bad actors that are contributing to the S sound. You don't want your whole group to suddenly be ducked just because there's a few bad actors that are creating that sibilance.